All right, guys, thanks again for joining us. This is Cat's Pajamas.
And this is Pain User.
And we are back again for another set here out of the IPL Season 2 qualifiers. This is round of 64 action between our Teal Protoss player here on the top right-hand corner of Xel'Naga Caverns. He is aTnSocke. His opponent down here at the bottom left-hand corner is coLCrunCher spawning as our orange Protoss player. So a super high-level PvP match. And you gotta say, for a round of 64 match, these are two extremely high-level players. This is quite the matchup at this stage in the brackets.
Yeah, definitely. We've actually been seeing a lot of really good players run into each other. The qualifiers are just riddled with talented players, and that's probably because there's a 50K prize pool on the line.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of people are really interested in getting this, and you've got tons of foreigners, Europeans, everyone in the Western scene is pretty much getting on top of this. But Cruncher, PvP not his strongest matchup, at least, in recent tournaments and in recent results. So Zoc has always been a very strong PvP player. He's very patient. He's got great micro, great decision making, and that's really what I feel like PvP comes down to. It's not so much a fast-paced, macro-oriented type of game. It's like very calculated decisions, picking off a few units here and there, just really small, little incremental things that make the difference.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm really curious to see how that attitude is going to shift as new builds start developing as well. I've seen in PvP, I've seen an overwhelming number of people have been going 2-gate Robo in addition to the normal 4-gate build, so people are starting to branch out a little bit as well. And I'd be really curious to see if people start this kind of shift away from 4-gate builds, or if that's still going to be really prevalent in the months to come. So both players with basically the same timing. It looks like Cruncher is a little bit ahead on his mining and slightly ahead on his cybercore timing, but of course he did cut one probe to get that out a little bit earlier, so just minute differences here between the two players.
Yeah, nothing major between these two. No major differentiation. Both players adding their second gases. Ooh. Oh, actually, that's a steal from Cruncher. Interesting. I actually thought that he got that down before Cruncher was able to steal it, but Cruncher's stealing the second gas, so Socke is obviously going to be a little bit gas-starved here, but he does have that initial Zealot coming out, and that will be able to deal with that gas steal. Obviously, it's already rallied to the assimilator, so wants to get rid of that, probably wants to get that second gas going, and this may force a specific tech out of Zoc. I'm not really sure if he'll expand out of this or perhaps add a third gateway, but he's certainly going to be delayed on any kind of gas.
Yeah, unless he's really resilient, it's probably going to push him into a really heavy gateway style, unless he just wants to force the issue with Robo, but I mean, that has so much health left on it. That Zealot is going to take a good while before that assimilator goes down. Back on Cruncher's side of things, he himself is adding gateway number 2, and Probu heading out. Looks like it's just going to set down another pylon here for the time being, so have yet to see what Cruncher is going to go with. He is building up some gas at this time, doesn't have a ton of minerals. There's gateway number 3, and looks like that's about all for now, but he is actually building up quite the gas content, now finally getting some sentries into the mix.
Man, Cruncher really loves his gas steals. We've actually seen him use that against Terran. We've seen him use it against Protoss now. And uses it whenever he really has an opportunity to do so, and I kind of agree with this. Zoc now getting his third gateway down. Both players going to finish Warp Gate pretty soon here, and then obviously warp all those gateways into Warp Gates, but neither player has established a proxy pylon. Zoc, just checking around, did kill a probe outside of his natural, I believe Zoc did, with his Stalker at the Xel'Naga. I think he finally got rid of that scouting probe that was going up around the back there. And now Zoc has pretty much full map control. He's scanning the map for pylons. He's remaining very active. And so far, so good. Doing a great job. We do have a Twilight out of Cruncher. So
both players.
Interesting. Very interesting, actually, that Cruncher is adding sentries into the mix when he may be going for some type of a Blink Stalker sort of build.
Yeah, but you know, it's really cool though when your opponent isn't going Blink Stalker, and I think he's got to believe in the back of his mind that with the gas deal that he did before, that Zoc is not going to invest in a Twilight Council and Blink, but Zoc laughs at that assumption and says, "I will show you. Enjoy these 3 Warp Gate Blink Stalkers. Oh, 4 Warp Gate Blink Stalkers." So he's actually going up to 4 Warp Gates. Cruncher, it appears as though, he is going to be content to sit on just these 3. He is actually quite far behind in supply. I'm curious to see where that's at the moment. Looks like that is entirely in workers. He has just cut probes for quite a while now, and he is going to make this a ridiculously strong attack. But, you know, if this fails, it's going to be really hard for him to get back into this.
I really don't see it working. I mean, Zoc is ahead on supply. He has 4 gateways. He's going to be able to produce so many units to defend this, and he does have Blink himself, so he has a defensive posture as well, and he has Blink, so he has a lot going for him right now in the event that Cruncher really tries to press the issue here. I don't think that's going to benefit Cruncher at all. Checking for an expansion very quick. Doesn't see anything there, so he's probably going to try and press up the ramp, but I can't help but think this is going to be really bad for him. Zoc is 100% ready, going to pick off one of those stalkers. No, each player... No, just Zoc has Guardian Shield. I don't know where Cruncher's Sentry went. I think he had a Sentry.
He did.
In the mix for Guardian Shield, but it is back at the main base to defend against any kind of a backstab. He could really use that Guardian Shield right now, and Zoc just taking full advantage of the amount of stalkers that he has and the Guardian Shield.
Yeah, we're going to have a little bit of back and forth Blink micro here going for both players. Looks like there's the Blink up from Zoc, though, and he does manage to pick off 2, almost 3 stalkers, but Cruncher does blink away once again. In fact, trapping a few of his units on the high ground there, and he is basically going to have those left alone. Oh, very nice job. Just gets his next blink right in time, is able to blink away. So Cruncher now going ahead, running back to his... Ooh, Zoc did put up a pylon there, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to do anything with it for the time being. That does actually supply cap Zaka, but Cruncher, though, he is way back in supply. He's furiously trying to put up workers, but he is going to have to defend quite the attack because here comes Zaka. Zaka going to make his way back in and should be able to blink his way up if he wants to, but it looks like he is just going to blink back for the time being, and now he actually doesn't have vision up the ramp. Has to be careful, otherwise Cruncher could take his units apart.
Yeah, Cruncher could certainly do a lot of damage to him if he tries to press up and get up the ramp, but it looks like Zoc might be vying for an expansion here. He's got a probe in position at his natural, and he is going to push up the ramp here. Guardian Shield going off for Cruncher. No Guardian Shield going off for Zoc, but Zoc has so many forces right here. I think he might just be able to bulldoze his way up the ramp, and it looks like that's exactly what he's trying to do. Zoc, impressive micro there with his stalkers, blinking the low stalkers to the back, and he just has way too many stalkers for Cruncher to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely, and it looks like Cruncher is forced to GG right away. He has to leave the game. So initially a decent approach out of Cruncher, but after his first gas steal doesn't do a lot of follow-up intel, and unfortunately plays a build that plays right into Zaka's hands, especially because Zaka, I don't want to say he overcommitted, but he produced quite a bit more probes than maybe he would have had he been able to do his own thing and wasn't forced into that sort of Blink Stalker build. But nonetheless, congratulations to Zaka for taking game number 1.
Yeah, I feel like Zoc's push up the ramp was much more timely than Cruncher's. He took a small advantage when Cruncher tried to push up, did so much damage to the stalkers in the midfield, got like 7 or 8 stalkers to yellow or below, and then just pressed the advantage really hard and just forced his way up the ramp. But he was able to kill so many of those low stalkers when he eventually pushed.
Yep, absolutely. So, guys, that does give Zaka 1 game advantage here in this best of 3. Don't go anywhere, guys. Game number 2 coming up in just a second.